identity? How do you prepare them? Or do you have to use a certain kind of cherry?
If you're using it fresh cherries for the fruit identity, meaning you're adding it after it's coming out, they're loaded with moisture, but cherries are pretty high concentration of sugar compared to strawberries. Strawberries will turn into little marbles unless you sugar them, but the cherries aren't too bad. But still, you could just cut them in half, lay them out on a cookie sheet and a thin coating of sugar overnight, and then they'll be great to work with.
Do you also put it in there with the base?
If you put the cherries in with the base, you don't have to sugar them because it's going to puree them, and there won't be a large enough piece that it's going to cause you little marbles. Oh, I had one more thing to show you about the blades. We had been on this system for years, and these work very well, and when we get these back for re-edging, we do it, and we see thousands of them. And the latest one, which we've been doing now for 3 years, we started with the mid-size machine, went to the little one, and then to the big ones. And that's the new blade. It's a solid block of Delrin, and it's spring-loaded. So it doesn't have to throw out against the walls, and especially for gelato, when you're making a lower RPM, lower speed. You turn down the speed on this, and with the old blades, which were using centrifugal force, not every time would they throw out if the speed got too low. These are spring-loaded, so they're always going to scrape. No matter how much they wear, they're always going to scrape because of being spring-loaded. And these are going to last about 6 years before you have to replace them, or even not even replace them, but just sharpen them for the first time. So where these blades need to be re-edged by us once a year, these don't. You go 6 years without doing anything, and then we'll see if we need to re-edge them. I don't think you'll have to even replace them after 6 years. So we keep doing things to improve the machine to make it more durable, and in the case of what's in there now, they scrape even better for ices and ice cream and gelato than the old style. So we keep trying to improve. That's nearly ready. Anybody getting full yet? I warned you. We have a couple, this and one more. It's getting crowded up here. See what I'm doing? Open, close. Cuts like a knife went through it. It's ready. I'll let it go just a little bit longer because I'm going to serve it to you direct and I want it nice and stiff. Let me get these out of the way. And turn off the refrigeration. Open the gate. There we go. Look how fast that comes out. And then you go on to your next flavor. Probably yes. So again, you're looking at where's your market. If you're selling this on the beach, that's perfectly fine. If you're selling this to Le Penetier restaurant, it's totally unacceptable. So I'm trying to show you the extremes, the raspberry sorbet and the color-laden cherry Italian ice. Same machine, same concept, sugar, water, and flavor, two totally different products. Texture is going to be the same, but again, it's what's your market? And it was supposed to make 3 gallons, and it made 3 gallons. Yes, Kay?
Are you going to take a break for a minute or two while they eat this? Jerry has one question about sending the dasher back. 6 pounds, and he doesn't know what to charge for and what not to charge for. He's talking to Slade about it.
Let's see. That I know who that was. The people in Michigan.
You want to see the paperwork first?
Charge them for the sharpening of the blades and for the shipping costs,
Okay,
and that's it.
okay,
Yeah, well, we checked the Dasher for free,
okay.
and it was fine.
So shipping and,
Shipping and sharpening the blades. Well, come on up. You don't have to eat it all. No one's forcing you. I'll tell you what, I'll even try to do smaller portions.
All right.
There you go. That is a really bright product.
That is amazing, Tom.
It is. It's just downright scary, isn't it? I got a feeling 20 years from now, you'll still have that in your system. There you go. Spoon's there. You don't have to eat it. But it's refreshing, I can tell you that.
Thank you, sir.
Not too much.
Okay.
That's good. Thank you. Perfect, thank you.
That show in Jacksonville, a closed show?
You can get in on, you have to pay to attend it, but there's one day, Thursday, that you can go, and I think it's like $35. That's the thing to do. Anybody else? Okay, there's one. Okay,
Oh, no, she already got, oh, I'm sorry.
okay. Slade, you want some cherry ice? Okay. Sadie, what are you doing? Oh, you missed it. It's already in the freezer. Go help yourself. Does that mean that people shouldn't buy a machine from you built after on the day of one of these courses? I can't give you cherry ice. I'm sorry. I'm still sorry. Go on, run along. Go see Gay. Go see Gay. That's not Gay. All right. So that costs about 1 cent per ounce. And so that portion could easily sell for $1.50. Yeah. And it costs, and you've got 3-4 cents worth of ice there. Okay. I got to clean it. I'm sorry? No. I just didn't like them. I think the can had been around too long.
Do you have a favorite that you like as far as the national and or maybe we
I like iRice.
pina colada.
Yes, that was good, wasn't it?
Yes, I mean everything's great.
Yeah, I like that pina colada. Oh, I know what I've got to tell you about Italian ice. You bring up a good point, and didn't even know it. If 4 people walk into my office and I have to guess what's their favorite flavor of ice cream, I can't do it. I have no idea. I cannot guess. But Italian ice is so ethnic. And I'm not offending anybody, I'm just telling you the way it is. It is so ethnic that if 4 people walk in and I have to guess what your favorite flavor of ice probably is, I can probably do it. If you're black, it's going to be cherry or grape or watermelon. If you're Hispanic, it's going to be coconut, pina colada, along that line. If you're mango, if you're Italian, it's going to be lemon, and only lemon. If you're Jewish, it's going to be chocolate. And if you're a Presbyterian like me, you form a committee to make the decision for you, because we can't make decisions. Now, what does that do for you based with that information? It means that you're in New York City, and there's the Puerto Rican Day Festival, which is a really big one. You're going to make the coconut ices and sell it down there. No sense bringing chocolate ice. There isn't going to be anybody of the Jewish faith at the Puerto Rican Day Parade. If you're doing the Festival of San Gennaro, you're going to sell lemon ice and nothing but lemon ice. There's not going to be anybody from Puerto Rico there, so you're just not going to do it. If you're up in Westchester County in Scarsdale, you bring your own busload of people to make decisions for you. And that's what it is. And so that means in one geographic area, you can figure out what's going to sell. And I don't know any other product that can do that. I mean, restaurants would beg to be able to know what's going to sell. Well, I can tell you on Italian Ice what's going to sell. So that's pretty neat. And if you're selling it to Obama, he isn't going to let you sell it, and he's going to tax you. Had to get that in. All right, so we've already learned today that to be better than anybody else in the Italian ice business, come up with a fresh cherry Italian ice formula, and you'll steal the business. Because this is pretty nasty. And it's a good company. Anybody have Malcolm's book? Can they look up and see if there's a cherry Italian ice formula? See if there's cherry ice and see what Malcolm does.
Now, Steve,
Yeah.
a cream ice is just,
Ooh.
basically, in order to make a cream ice, you add cream.
Love cream ice. Ralph's Italian Ice in Staten Island is the king of cream ice. Nobody does it better than Ralph's. And basically, you're taking your Italian ice formula and adding a couple of quarts of the 10% ice cream mix to it. Because then you're not getting just cream, you're getting milk, cream, skim milk, a variety of things. And the Italians call that a cremolata. Did you find it? Oh, it's in here. They call that a cremolata, or Ralph just calls it a cream ice. And they are delicious. You found one. What do we got?
Cherry water ice.
DS cherry flavor. All right, Malcolm has got IQF cherry pieces. That's, I think that's instant quick frozen is what that stands for. Sugar. He's put in corn syrup, which I don't use. He's put in stabilizer, which I don't use. Water, a little bit of cherry flavor, only to this size machine, 2 ounces. So that would be a cherry extract. And lemon juice to take away a little bit of the sweetness. In his homemade version, he's got sugar, water, and cherry pie filling. Ooh, that sounds good. That's kind of like the way I did the pumpkin. I did pumpkin pie filling. So there are better ways to do it.
So how could you make this a bit different?
I'm sorry?
How could you make that a bit different?
Just
What
by
would you put in it?
right here, sugar, water, and cherry pie filling
Cherry pie.
instead of all that color. Now you can see that's not absolutely clear, but it's so close that I can run with that if I was doing a lot of production. Since it's us and I want everything perfect, I'll rinse it one more time just to get that color out of there. You can put anything you want into this machine. Slade, next we're going to make Oreo cookie banana. So if you can hang around for a minute, take some pictures of the bananas going in. That's always great fun. I once was doing one of Malcolm Stogo's courses up in Tarrytown, New York. This is years ago. And I was late leaving the Bronx, and I needed to make banana ice cream, and so I stopped off at a bodega. That's a deli in the Bronx. They're called bodegas. And I picked up a bunch of bananas, and I threw them in the car, and I ran up to Tarrytown, and I'm making ice cream. I'm making banana ice cream like you're going to see me make, and I'm smiling and talking to everybody. I'm peeling the bananas. And there's this guy in the front, and I still laugh over it. He says, "You can't use those." I said, "Why not?" They're ripe. He says, "Because those aren't bananas, those are Pantenes. And if you don't cook them first, you're going to poison us all." And I'm tired, and I'm cranky, and I'm a New Yorker. I said, "What are you, a rocket scientist?" He goes, "No, I'm a brain surgeon." And he was. So I said, okay, well, we're going to skip the banana ice cream, and now we're going to go on to the next one. I thought Malcolm was going to kill me for challenging one of his customers. He was a brain surgeon. Okay, now we'll get some of the ice cream blend out. Now this mix is, again, it's milk, cream, sugar, skim milk. There's no flavor in it. There's no vanilla in it. In fact, if you ever go to an ice cream parlor and you see a little chalk sign out in front of the store, today only, fresh sweet cream ice cream, what really that sign is telling you is the guy was making ice cream till about 11 or 12 o'clock at night, and he was so tired he forgot to put the vanilla in with the mix. So rather than throw it away, he just changed the name to sweet cream ice cream, which is just ice cream mix frozen. Okay, we want 5 quarts. The people who came up with these bags, it was a salesman years ago, and one of the biggest dairies in the country is H.P. Hood in Boston. And the story goes that, all their milk came in those, 10-gallon pails. And one day a salesman shows up and he says, "I've got this plastic bladder or bag that you could sell mix in." Oh, there's still some cherry in there. And he said, "This is going to revolutionize your business." And it sounded like an Abbott and Costello. He says, "I'm going to take this to the top of your 3-floor building. And you executives all stand down there at the bottom. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to drop it. And that bag is going to bounce and you're going to pay me billions of dollars." So he gets up to the 3rd floor. The executives are all down there, wearing their, Gucci shoes and Armani suits, and he drops the bag, and of course, splat, it broke everywhere. But they looked in, they said, "This really is revolutionary," and they were the first to put mix into bags like this. At least that's how the story goes. But somebody had to sacrifice those Gucci shoes. Soy-based ice creams work very well. They do not take on air because dairy product, the fat cells will take on air. So at maximum, we can double our input. We put in 5 quarts, we can get 10 quarts back. The soy products don't do that very well. So you run them at full speed, maybe you'll get, we talked about overrun, maybe you'll get 60% overrun, but you'll never get 100. But it works very well. It's a little bit of an icy taste, but if that's all you can eat, you know, it's better than not having ice cream. And the exception is a company called Soylicious, which I think has got that beautiful dark packaging.
Yeah.
That's the most awful ice cream I've ever eaten in my life. It's terrible. But there's a good company in New York, and there's a great one in Chicago, who Soy Dairy is the one in Chicago, and they're making a fabulous product. So it certainly can be done. Now, I always tell people in my recipe, there's always enough cookies left over for the ice cream maker to have 2 or 3 of them. But my plant manager is standing back there, and he's going to rat to my wife. So I won't be eating them. Vanilla. We need some vanilla. Here it is. And I like a generous amount of vanilla on this one. I think the worst thing that can happen to you in making frozen desserts, especially ice cream, is for someone to eat a pale red ice cream, not this, a pale pink ice cream, and say, oh, that's delicious, what is it? And if you can't tell it's red raspberry ice cream as opposed to strawberry, I haven't done my job right. I haven't put enough flavor in there. I mean, I'm tired of even just vanilla ice creams that just don't have enough vanilla. So we got that in. I'm going to run it at full speed so you can see 100% overrun ice cream. Turn on the refrigeration. Now I've been saving these bananas. These are really ugly. The more ripe a banana is, the better the flavor. They have a higher sugar content. And I used to tell these seminars until one of my customers outdid me. They said, I would say, you know what, I'm going to go to Publix and I'm going to say to the greengrocer, you see those ugly bananas that you can't sell? I'm going to buy them from you for half price because you're just going to throw them out. And I'm going to save all that money on bananas. And I thought that was really clever. Well, one of my customers, Gary from Chelmsford, Mass., emailed in during one of these seminars. He said, Steve, you're a rookie. I go to the greengrocer and I say, look at those bananas. You can't sell those. You're going to throw them in your dumpster. They're going to take up space in your dumpster, which is going to cost you money, and I'll only charge you $1 to take them all away off your hands. Now that's a salesman. You can't do that in any other machine. You would have to puree them first. They just physically can't go into the machine because the openings are too small. These overripe bananas, oh, they do just such a great taste. You're going to love this. This is one you'd want to take home. Now, one little trick, when you're in the ice cream and ices business, and especially as you get older, you go to a doctor, and especially with a specialist, they make all their reservations, all their appointments for 3 in the afternoon, and the secretary says, bring War and Peace, you're going to be here for a while. And you get there, and there's 15 people with a 3 o'clock appointment. Not me. I walk in with a tub of ice cream, I bring the cups and the spoons, and I say, here, this is for the doctor. I almost got tricked once by a nurse. She said, oh, that's wonderful. I'll take it from you and give it to the doctor. And then I didn't see him for 3 hours. So now I've learned, oh, no. I made this just for the doc. I want to hand it to him personally. Well, there were 15 people in the waiting room, and guess who got to be in there first? And then the other thing is we make ice cream and give it to our bankers, because Donald Trump once said, be nice to your bankers. Nobody else is. And it's so true. And at some point in time, you're going to need your bankers. So we take ice cream to SunTrust, we take it to Chase, Bank America, Regions. We cover all the bases and give them all ice cream. And we're treated very well. You know, I need something notarized, boom, right away. You need to just do a fast cash deposit. Here, I'll sign that for you. By the way, what ice cream did you bring today? I love it. All right, the cookies. Because we're running out of time, I'm going to just throw them all in the machine. What I could do is my fruit flavor would be half the bag of cookies in the machine, grind them all up. The other half, I take each cookie and break it into about 3 pieces. And as the ice cream's coming out, I shake them into the ice cream. Fruit identity. Yes, I know it's not a fruit. It's a cookie. But I've got my cookies in the machine and my identity so that when I look at the tub, I go, oh, Oreo cookie ice cream. The only exception is when I finish with this bag of cookies, there's going to be cookie dust left in the bag. And the tendency is to take the cookie dust and just throw it on the tub. Well, it ends up looking like dirt. Remember, I'm from the Bronx. Everything looks like dirt. So you don't do that. But you can save one cookie and put it right on the tub itself so that you know, oh, that's Oreo cookie ice cream. You know what? That is a good story. For those of you on the internet, he was saying, well, just like everything else, you can buy them wholesale and crushed and make it easier. Not Oreos. You will see all over the world, talk about bad marketing. All over the world, you'll see cookies and cream ice cream. You'll never see Oreo cookie ice cream because some mid-management dope years ago came into an ice cream parlor of mine up in New Jersey and said, you can't use the name Oreo cookie, we didn't give you permission. How, and so now everybody calls it cookies and cream. How many thousands and millions of gallons of ice cream could have been sold as Oreo cookie ice cream in ice cream parlors all over the world? I mean, please, name an ice cream, Emery Thompson ice cream. You know, I'll beg you to, to use the name Emery Thompson. And they said, no, you can't use our name. What a mistake. I mean, nobody else ever did. Again, we see Reese's Pieces, we see Hershey's ice cream, we see, you know, M&M candy ice cream. These people said, you know what, that's great free marketing. And even to this day, I just saw on that blog, Ice Cream Folks at Yahoo Groups, where somebody said, can I call my ice cream Oreo cookie? And they said no, and then told the story. And they said, well, what about Hydrox or some other? And someone wrote in, unfortunately, ... there is no substitute for Oreo cookie. And there just isn't. But they gave away, I mean, they, to this day, don't see the foolishness of that. I mean, a thermos bottle by any other manufacturer is still called a thermos. So I hope you're going to be sufficiently full after this. And as questions arise, I give all my customers and potential customers my home telephone number. It's 914-643-7391. And the reason I do that is ice cream parlors are busiest nights and weekends. And so if you're working nights and weekends and you have a question, you know, why is my machine freezing up? And then we find out it's because you left the sugar out, which is the most common mistake, I can get you up and running. In fact, we had an example of that a while back. Malik Rose, the basketball player, has a couple of Italian ice businesses. And he'd been running the machine for a number of years. He calls up one Saturday night at 8 o'clock and says, oh, Steve, the machine is banging and clanking and making all this noise. And I thought, that's odd. The machine's been running now for, 5 years flawlessly. And so we checked a couple of things. I said, check the water, check this, check that. I said, hey, Malik, while you're at it, taste it. What are you making? He said, oh, I'm making cherry Italian ice. Well, what's it taste like? He tastes it. And he says, oh, it's awful. It tastes like cherry juice and water. I said, Malik, you left the sugar out. And without the sugar, there's nothing to freeze. You're just making a giant ice cube. So the ice was building up on the walls, the machine's banging and clanking and all that stuff. I said, melt it down, remake your formula, and you'll be fine. Now, if that was some other company, which I won't mention, you know, like Taylor, Capajani, or Electrofreeze, they would say, oh, well, you can't get them on the phone Saturday anyway, but you can get them Monday. And we'll be right over. So they show up Tuesday, though this was Saturday. They show up Tuesday. Guy looks at the machine, says, you need a new expansion valve. $234 plus $200 to put it in. And then after he does all that work of putting in the expansion valve, he says, mix me up a batch of that cherry ice and we'll try it. So Malik mixes it up with the sugar and the water and the flavor, puts it in, runs the machine, it runs perfectly. You're a hero. You know, $600 later, you're a hero. There was nothing ever wrong with the machine. They needed Slade or me or one of our other guys to just ask them, what are you freezing? And what's it taste like? And since it didn't taste right, we knew the formula was wrong. Or another example, I said this is a water-cooled machine. We only started putting them on wheels about 20 years ago. So when we started putting them on wheels instead of on the floor, I get a phone call, and I always ask people the same thing. If you call me up, you're going to get this question. When did it last run right? Well, it ran right last night at 11 o'clock. Okay, so we go through a few things, and I said to one customer, did you clean behind the machine? He goes, oh man, Steve, I got this cleaning service. They come in, they're fantastic. They move all the machinery, they clean everything, they don't miss a thing. And I'm home sleeping. I said, that's very nice. Go back and look at the machine and let's see if when they rolled the water-cooled machine, which is now on wheels back, they were stepping on the water line, cutting it off with the wheel, which means the compressor overheats, the machine shuts off, and now it doesn't seem to work. Solution, move the machine a quarter of an inch forward, off the water line, everything works. Taylor would have been there putting in an expansion valve, and in the process would have moved the machine off the water line because they had to get to this panel. So that's why I give my home phone number, and there's not anybody else in the industry who does that. And I do it because I enjoy it. I like getting phone calls. I put a cap on it. You can call me from 5:30 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night, Eastern time. Every once in a while I get the phone call, Mr. Steve, so good to talk to you. I'm in Bangladesh. How are you today? I go, it's not today. It's 2 in the morning. That happens, but that goes with the territory. And then poor Slade, our plant manager, I'm constantly sending him over photos that people have sent. And Slade looks at it, and within 30 seconds he's got a diagnosis. He emails me back. I call the customer, and boom, we got him running again. These machines are so foolproof, and when you build a machine that's going to last 40 years, there just isn't anything to go wrong on it. So that's why we have a lot of fun here, because nobody hates us. Now I'm going to check this. It's frozen. Sometimes with the humidity, you'll get a little ice in the door. Now see how that's cutting off? It's cutting off nicely, but it still looks a little wet, so I'm going to let it go just a little bit longer, maybe another minute. Again, if you need the DVDs today, we have those for free for you to take home. If you're interested in a book, you can see my sister Gay. If you'd like a quick tour of the factory, as soon as we try this product, I can take you out back and just show you how we build them. We do some machining here. We do a lot of our machining over across the street, and we do final assembly here. Every one of these machines gets tested for 3.5 hours before we crate it and ship it. That way, no matter where it's going in the world, we know that it's running properly. which makes it easier to sleep at night. Now, let's see, what can I put this in? I'm running out of containers. I think I'll put it in some of the gelato pans. Yes. Portable sinks, I don't know, but if you contact NICRA, National Ice Cream Retailers Association, the president there is Linda Utterback, and she knows, because I know they were at one of our trade shows last year, or at our trade show. Okay, see how that's off, nice and clean? I could put it in that, but I think I'll fill these. Should fill about 2 of these. Again, the Italians say, oh, no good, comes out too fast. Well, that's what makes consistency. I always tell people, I think McDonald's is a lousy hamburger, but it's the same lousy hamburger in Brooksville as it is in Orlando, as it is in Moscow. No matter where you go, when you walk through the doors, you know what you're going to get. And consistency in the food industry is extremely important. So if this took me 3 to 5 minutes to get this product out, my first product would weigh different than my last product. My last product would be much lighter. It would be over 100%. And that's not consistent, and that's not what I want. Now, if I was making 5 or 6 batches of this, I would shut the door down and continue on. If I'm at the end of the day and I'm not going to make any more product, I'll spend a little more time getting that last little blurb out. But don't waste your time if you're going to make a bunch of batches. But there's less than a pint left in there. And this is it. This is your last ice cream of the day. Last any frozen dessert of the day. So come on up. Let's just, that's good. Let me get a, hold on, I gotta find the, I was looking for the spade, but I'll use this. Here we go. Well, it won't be once you get it. There, whoops, it is a lot. Let me find. There we go. That might work better. There you go. Now this will taste on the warm side because I pulled it at 100% overrun. And the flavor will enhance between now and tomorrow. Now remember, that was a white mix, so all this color is coming from the Oreo cookies.
Thank you.
Now, if you wanted to add chunks of Oreo to that, or
I would add it as it was coming out of the machine. My fruit identity.
right.
Just a tiny amount. Just a little white. Thank you.
That's about it for me too. Let me touch him.
Okay. Poor Sadie.
Thank you. I know,
Waiting
I
in
feel so
line.
sorry for her.
But you saw she had ice cream.
I know, but she needs one for every time. Can I have just the tiniest smidge?
I'll give you that.
Well, that's all I wanted.
You don't have to eat all that.
The service is slow.
It is slow here, Slade.
I'll go make sure everybody's working hard. for the tour. I got a lot of good pictures.
Oh, great. Excellent. Ken? Okay. Any parting, how about that? It's 1:45. We did pretty well. Any parting questions I can answer for you?
How do you stay so thin?
I don't. I just buy larger size pants. What, Ken? Yeah, we went over that. Yeah. Dozing. Sure. The only thing we didn't go over was something called single phase and three phase, and I'll just touch on that while you're having your ice cream, and then if you'd like a tour of the factory, I'll give you that. All this machinery is 220 volt for the U.S. market. We build our machines to match the country it's going into. So if you're in a country that's 400 volt, we'll build it 400. If it's 380, 360, we build it to match that country, 60 cycle, 50 cycle, whatever the country is. All the other companies build it one way and then either modify the existing compressor or make you buy a transformer to make the machine run. We don't do that. We take your order and in 4 weeks we build it from the ground up, handmade, to be what's going to run in your country. Here in the United States, these light bulbs are running on 110 volt or 115 volt. For simplicity, we'll call it 110. And that's regular household current. That's hair dryer, toaster, microwave, light bulbs. Heavy equipment like this, well, at your house, your central air conditioning system is running on 220 volts, twice as heavy. And your electric clothes dryer might be running on 220 volt. Well, these machines start at 220 volt, or that's what they run on, is 220 volt. So it's a heavy line. Then it's further divided into something called single phase and three phase. I don't want to open those to show you, but in your house you have single phase. That means in the US market you have two 110 volt lines, and that's what powers this thing, two of them. On even bigger machinery like this factory, we have 3 power lines, still 220, but called 3-phase. So I build my machines, the bigger ones, either in single phase, which is actually 2 wires, or 3-phase, which is 3 wires. It used to be you could get a break on your electricity if you bought 3-phase, but no more. They don't do that. In fact, they'll even charge you $20,000 to bring it into your building. So there's no advantage to 3-phase really unless you have it in the building. In the old days, they used to say that a 3-phase machine was heavier duty than a single phase, but the way motors and compressors have evolved, that's just not true anymore. But the Italian companies, which is everybody else, builds only in 3-phase. And then you have to buy a $2,000 transformer on top of the cost of the machine. You just bought this $7,000 bargain, you think, at eBay, and now you got to spend $2,500 on a transformer, which is only going to last 4 years, and then it'll burn out. And they limit the amount of hours that you can run the machine because the transformers overheat. What we do is we look at your business and say, are you single phase or 3-phase? Or more importantly, where are you going? 20, 30 years ago, I was selling 3-phase machines because the store owner owned the building, he owned the land, he was there forever. Nowadays, you're going into a strip mall and you're renting the space, and all of a sudden the landlord says, boy, that's a pretty good looking building. I think I'll cancel their rent and I'll put an ice cream parlor in there. Well, now you've got this 3-phase machine that won't, and 3-phase will only run on 3-phase. So you got this 3-phase machine, you've just been kicked out of your lease, and your machine won't run anywhere else because it's Italian made and it's 3-phase only. So we sell more of these 1-phase machines. And again, it's not something for you to be concerned about, except I'll ask you, what's your situation? Do you own the building? what power do you have in the building, and then I'll help you decide. But we're going to give you a machine that if you have to move from Florida to Iowa, you'll be able to take the machine with you and run it. And that's not necessarily going to be the case with a used machine. Lots of people buy a machine and then find out they can't run it because they don't have the proper power. But again, Emery Thompson builds everything, as you'll see out back, from the ground up. So this thing is like a Rolls Royce. It's handmade for your business. And with that, we're through. Thank you. Let me take you. I appreciate you coming, and Sadie even appreciates it even more. Let me take you for a quick tour through the factory, and then if there's anything you need on your way out, the DVDs, or answer any last questions, I can certainly do that. And the book.